Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash, and I want to say Shalom to Akman Akwat out there, pursuing this truth diligently, coming at you once again with another lesson. And this is another edition of the Judgment Report. Not live, but coming at you on November 5th of 2025. Got a couple little articles here. I think, what do we got? 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, yeah, that's right. I added one because I found another one dealing with the so-called Halloween holiday. Where there was 5, and then as I was scrolling, I ended up finding another one, so I added it in. And so this is going to be basically covering the week. All right, that's usually how it goes. Is it usually ends up covering the week. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can go back to about the 30th, because that's how I run them usually. Is I run it through the filter. Bear with me 1 minute. 1 minute. It's like it, but I run it through the filter on YouTube. The past week. So, it'll usually go back. So we're starting. These are basically starting at the 30th, right, of October through the 5th of November, as we are in today. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into it. Got quite a few things here. Some stuff about some interesting stuff. Some things about that happened over Halloween. All right, and some issues going on with family and whatnot. So let's go ahead and start it up. And let me go ahead and max out the volume here. This first one is from ABC 7 News, and it's titled, "Video Shows Kentucky Plane Crash, Massive Fireball That Killed at Least 7." So let's go ahead and check it out here.
It's a developing story out of Kentucky. A massive fireball erupting after a UPS plane crashed while trying to take off from the Louisville airport. Tonight, the number of people dead rising to 7, 11 others injured. Sources tell ABC News it appears the plane suffered some sort of an engine problem during takeoff. Investigators still working to figure out what exactly happened in this tragedy. Eyewitness News reporter Liz Nagy in studio now with more. Liz.
And Mark, investigators are going to get to that scene as quickly as they can, but right now rescuers are still searching for any possible survivors or people who are still unaccounted for at that crash site. That's why the Kentucky governor is warning tonight the number of victims is likely to climb. As federal investigators try and begin their investigation, preliminary data indicates that UPS cargo plane only lifted 175 feet off the ground. Video of that crash is astonishing.
Watch the top of the screen. Security cameras show a massive cargo plane partially barrel rolling across the runway and combusting into a ball of fire. The roar of the impact and the explosion that follows is haunting. It shook the ground and rattled the air around the Louisville airport for miles, thick black smoke spewing into the air. Video verified by ABC News appears to show the UPS cargo plane already on fire as it sped down the runway struggling to get airborne.
Anybody who has seen the images and the video know how violent this crash is. And there are a lot of families that are going to be waiting and wondering for a period of time.
3 crew members were on board the fully fueled UPS cargo plane.
I was gonna say. I'm like that. They must have been at a crazy amount of fuel on board, right? For something like that. That shit looks like a small nuke.
Dealing with not only the initial fuel spill, but all the additional that was on site there.
Tonight, hundreds of firefighters are still battling a residual fire at the crash site. Investigators continue to search through the smoke for people at surrounding businesses who are still unaccounted for after a crash involving the largest employer in Louisville.
We all know somebody who works at UPS, and they're all texting their friends, their family, trying to make sure everyone is safe. Sadly, some of those texts are probably going to go unanswered.
Louisville's airport will remain closed through at least tomorrow morning as firefighters and investigators work to get control of that crash scene. Mark.
Liz, thank you.
You see it, man. So that's why you can't
It's a developing story out of Kentucky.
that's why you can't feel too safe. All right, and that's why you gotta pray. You gotta pray before you go anywhere, man. Let's go and get that. Let's do this one. Come on now. This is Philippians 4 and 6. And then I'll go get the usual pray without ceasing after this, Lord willing. But I wanted to get this one because we don't get this one too often. Philippians 4 and 6 reads, "Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving let your requests be made known unto Yahweh." And then we'll go on to verse 7. It says, "And the peace of Yahweh, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Hamashiach Yahweh Shai." So yeah, let's go and get this. Let's go and get this in the Good News Translation. Because I've been on a kick with that lately. So it says, "Don't worry about anything, but in all your prayers ask Yahweh for what you need, always asking him with a thankful heart." So there you go. And we got to go to verse 7 as well. And it says, "And Yahweh's peace, which is far beyond human understanding, will keep your hearts and minds safe in union with Hamashiach Yahweh Shai." So there you go, you see it. And then of course we got to go and get First Thessalonians 5 and 17. And of course it says, "Pray without ceasing." And cease, of course, means to stop. Okay, so do not stop praying. And of course, when you pray, you got to pray in the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right, I'm sure some of these people probably prayed in the name of Jesus Christ before they took off, but they did not pray in the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. So, and the only thing that we can be assured of is that there was no members of the elect on board that plane. Yeah, man, this is why you got to be careful, man. You got to be careful out there. I wouldn't recommend unnecessary plane travel. All right, just getting on a plane to go on a plane and just travel. I mean, if you can drive, I mean, they say it's safer to get on a plane than to drive, but we've been seeing a lot of plane crashes lately. I mean, if you got to travel for business, or you got to go see family, or it's a situation where you have to do it for work or wherever, of course, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai has got to be, the one you're praying to, and you gotta just pray and hope, right? But I wouldn't recommend incessant travel just to do it, right? Because a lot of these planes are going down, man. You're seeing a lot of these planes going down. Now, this one was a UPS plane, not train, planes, and automobiles, but it was I guess mail. I guess it was for mail. I don't know. It said UPS or USPS, Slovakia, plane, but it had people on board, but I don't know if the 7 were killed on the ground or if they were in the plane. It's a lot of speculation. You see, it says a UPS cargo plane, which means it was carrying goods. So I'm guessing the people that it said killed 7, injured at least 7, and then injured 11. I'm guessing it would have to be the people on the ground that got killed somehow, not anybody. I don't know how many people they would have on board a cargo plane like that. Obviously, probably at least 2 pilots, as they usually do. I don't know what else they would have on that, but hey, man, it's a terrible situation. Terrible situation. Let's see. People are just talking about how, this marks the 3rd fatal UPS plane crash and 1st fatal UPS plane crash since 2013. Rest in peace for the crews in flight 2976. So you see it. It said 3rd fatal and 1st fatal. That's what I said. I said it marks the 3rd fatal plane crash for UPS in history, and the 1st fatal plane crash in UPS since 2013. So interesting. It's a lot of crashes. This is one of the most horrific crashes I've seen this year. Many condolences to the family. But yeah, man, hey, things are getting worse. Things are getting worse. as we get closer to the end, everything that you're going to see is going to get, you know, worse. And anyway, you know, the plagues are going to get worse. Famines are going to get worse. The attitudes of people are going to get worse. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse. This is Matthew 24 and 21. Of course, this is a prophecy that we're coming into, all right, getting into it really, as we continue to get closer and closer to the end, dealing with Jacob's trouble. It says Matthew 24 and 21, it says, "For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be." And it's really building. It's not just going to... you know, get right to it. It's got to build, and that's what we're in. We're in the building moments right now before Jacob's trouble. We're in the early stages of Jacob's trouble, all right, which is you ain't seen nothing yet, all right. And then of course, you know, the great tribulation that's never been. It's going to be, you know, the day of as it's called in the Hebrew tongue, the Armageddon, all right, the judgment day, all right, the day the Lord returns. And that's going to be the worst day ever. But up into that point, it's going to get worse and 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 worse. Right? So, yeah, man. Are these ones are all Halloween. Okay, so those ones are all Halloween. So the next ones are all Halloween. All right, now I just made a lesson, all right, warning people that you're not supposed to do it. All right, and the day before Halloween, you know, and it's the information has gone out time and time again. All right, if you celebrate a festival of death, all right, or something that's dealing with, you know, demons and spirits, you don't be surprised when you die, man. Okay, the warning has been there. All right, the warning went out. Okay, so and you didn't listen. Okay. Right here, Proverbs 1:29, "For that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord." Okay, you know, you didn't, and this is really dealing with people in the end that's, you know, try to call on the Lord. But it's the same situation now. You hated knowledge, you didn't choose to fear the Lord. All right, so when you die, what's there to be said? What is there to be said? You know, there's not really anything to be said. You're messing with the Lord at the end of the day, and he's the one that controls everything. Let's jump over to Tobit 3:1. I have it set up here. It says, "Then Tobit wrote a prayer of rejoicing and said, Blessed be Yahweh that liveth forever, and blessed be his kingdom. For he doth scourge and hath mercy. He leadeth down to hell and bringeth up again. Neither is there any that can avoid his hand." And this is in a similar vein of this is 1 Samuel 2 and 6 through 9. It says, "The Lord killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. The Lord maketh poor and maketh rich. He bringeth low and lifteth up." Okay. Yeah, so, you know, and there's another one besides that one. "I kill, you know, and I make alive." That's in Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 32 and 39 says, "See now that I, even I, am he, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hands." That's 3 scriptures right there showing you that the Lord is the one that's controlling all things. He's the one that controls, you know, who lives. He's the one who controls who dies. He heals. He makes people sick. All right. He creates and manages all these things. He is the Lord at the end of the day. He's omnipotent. And a lot of Christians don't understand what omnipotence is. All right. That's because the Christians don't have the full understanding. All right. Really, they don't even have 10%. They don't got any of the understanding really at all. They don't know the name of the Lord. They don't know that you're supposed to keep the law. They don't know the signs of the times. They don't know that the Lord and His Son are so-called black men. They don't know that so-called Jews that are over there today are not the real Jews. They don't know. You know, it's more of a question of what they do know, not what they don't know, because they don't know anything, right? So you gotta you know, taper your expectations, all right, when dealing with these Christians, because they don't know anything. All right, and they refuse to know anything. And when you try to tell them something, they say, no. All right, so you're not going to be able to get the understanding. You're just not going to be able to. Okay, and you're not supposed to be celebrating Halloween and any of those holidays. All right, we already got it. All right, learn not, right here in Jeremiah 10:2, it says, "Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them." So, they're the ones that are, all these holidays come from heathenistic customs. They're not Hebrew customs, all right? Or else they'd be mentioned in the Bible, and they're not. So you're not supposed to be following after their ways and doing these things. That's a harmless holiday. Sure, it's harmless. When a bunch of people end up dying, it's really an adultery and sexual promiscuity holiday, all right, with a lot of women just dressing with their tits and their asses out, it's being horny, sexy fucking maids, all right? That's the main outfit. Look at me, I'm a sexy puppy dog, or I'm a sexy firefighter, I'm a sexy cop, I'm a sexy maid, I'm a sexy it's fucking dressed like a whore day is what it is for the women, all right? That's what it is. And for the women, and for the men, it's just get fucking drunk off your ass and act like a fool, get into a fight and end up getting broken up with day, all right? Because I don't like the way you acted, right? I don't like it, Brad. And then you get your ass broken up with. Really, you're being free from that fucking she demon of a woman, all right? But at the end of the day, you got yourself in a bad situation. Come on, Piper, please. Or Harper, right? These different names. Come on, Mackenzie, please. Anyway, let's play this one. It's showing you that you shouldn't be celebrating these things, but here it is. The Ishkarites, they're doing it. Not all these are Ishkarites. Some of them are just Edomites too. All right, there's a good mix. All right, but a lot of them are Ishkarites. A lot of them aren't. Okay.
Carlos Manzo's funeral cortege proceeded under heavy police guard on Sunday. The mayor of Uruapan, a city of 350,000 people, was shot dead on Saturday night. He is pictured here a few minutes before his assassination, holding his son. Manzo was taking part in Day of the Dead celebrations, one of the most important Mexican holidays. The sound of firecrackers gave way to gunfire, which sent crowds scurrying. The mayor collapsed, having been hit. First responders tried in vain to revive him. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum paid tribute on social media.
I condemn in the strongest possible terms the despicable assassination of the mayor of Uruapan, Carlos Manzo. We reaffirm our commitment to putting all the state's efforts into achieving peace and security, with zero impunity and with respect for justice.
Carlos Manzo was a fierce opponent of cartel violence, which has plagued his home state of Michoacán in the west of the country. An investigation is underway to establish who ordered the killing.
No line of investigation is being ruled out in order to shed light on the cowardly act that took the mayor's life. We are in constant communication with the Michoacán state government and have intensified efforts to strengthen security in Uruapan and the region.
Mayors and municipal councillors have become prime targets of drug cartels in recent years in Mexico, with up to 60 political figures being assassinated during last year's election campaign alone.
Yeah, and they're really not doing anything about it over there. They're really not doing anything about it. They're kind of just letting it happen. And really, the reasoning behind that is probably because, the CIA has a lot to do with it. All right? They're probably ordering a lot of those hits because, the whole motto of America is Ora ab Chao. They can't have Mexico, be in a state of order. All right? They have to have it disorder over there. So, and they want to keep those cartels running. And the United States government makes a lot of money off these cartels and the drug trade and all these different types of things, all right? It's already been found out with the CIA. The American weapons are getting over there. American military equipment getting over. How? How is that happening? All right? That wouldn't be able to be released without the U.S. government. It's getting over there for one reason or another through the U.S. government, all right? They're selling that shit off, just like they were trading arms weapons with fucking Iran back in the day, all right? It says you condemn, but you're so afraid of the cartel that you don't fight them. Really, you need to have extreme measures for people in the cartel if that's really what you wanted to have done. All right, if you started, really, and I mean, there's nothing you could really do at the end of the day. All right, when they have, and they're basically the government. The cartel is basically the government, right? So there's not much you could really do. You could try to do an uprising and assassinate them all, but who knows how much that's going to work. And of course, it happened on the Day of the Dead. Now, what is Day of the Dead? It's a day where you celebrate the dead. All right, Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos. All right, is traditionally celebrated on November 1st and 2nd. It is a holiday, and it's like their version of Halloween, right? They don't really do Halloween, I don't think. It says it's a holiday to honor and remember deceased loved ones through various traditions such as visiting grave sites, creating altars, right, and holding festivals with food and music. And they have all these different things like Saint Death, right, Saint Muerte, and it's just, it's just ridiculous. You see it. Catholic. It's Catholic. Ancient Aztec rituals blended with Catholic. Okay, so again, not supposed to be doing those things, man. Not supposed to be doing those things. Indigenous and Catholic roots. And just because, in the original Mexicans, the original, like the actual Iscarites were Aztecs. All right, you have the other ones that are so-called Mexican, but they're actually just conquistadorian. All right, and they're Spanish from Spain. All right, when they came over and colonized Mexico. All right, so that's why not everybody over there is Issachar. All right, but there are the Aztecs are in fact Issacharites. Okay, there's a lot over there. There's a lot too. There have a lot of people say, oh, they're not. The Mexicans aren't Israelites. They are. All right, the actual Mexicans. All right, of course, there's going to be people over there. I mean, you could say the same. They always try to, see that means there's a lot of black people that ain't Jake. All right. You got to realize that there's a lot, think about all the people on the East Coast that were plantation babies. All right. From the slave master. All right. The slave master got with the, raped one of the, the female slaves, had a baby. Now you got this chocolate covered Edomite, and they grew up, and they might even say, yeah, my great great grandfather was a slave and all that. But you don't really, you were an Edomite. You're an Edomite. Okay. So, they don't understand those things. But yeah, you're not supposed to be following these heathenistic customs. All right, you're not supposed to be doing those things. You're just not. You're not supposed to be doing that type of stuff. The celebration of the dead. All right. Why would you celebrate the dead when you're a living? Okay. You say it's a joyful holiday, celebration of life. No, it's not. It's a celebration of death. Okay. The celebration of death. All right. You're celebrating death. You're gathering and decorating grave sites, altars in their homes, photos of deceased, candles, and that's you're celebrating death. All right, you're being close to death. Okay, here's another one. More with Halloween.
Is devastated tonight after a 17-year-old Norfolk native was shot and killed while attending a Halloween party in Charlotte, North Carolina. New at 5, Regina Mobley has a look at a short life of Amari Cooper and the people who loved her. Regina?
Tom, 17-year-old Amari Cooper already had her cap and gown for February's graduation ceremony. Tonight, her mother, a Norfolk native, Shantae Robinson, is preparing to bury the daughter who leaves behind a 2-year-old daughter. Friday night, Amari and her younger sister.
And I hate to point it out, but that's the N-dub face right there. The lips and everything. And she used to hit the A, right? You just know it.
Left home for a mom-approved Halloween party. Loved ones say shortly after the two sisters and another girl arrived by car, someone opened fire.
When they got to the party, they got out the car and they was walking towards the house, and it was a lot of gunshots, and they all started running and hiding behind trees and mailbox, and they looked back, Mari fell in the ditch. And my daughter and the other girls went to go help her, and she was unconscious. Well, they thought she was unconscious.
According to a police report, around 12:30 Saturday morning, officers responded to Old Plank Road in the North Division, where they found Amari suffering from a gunshot wound. She was transported to a hospital where she was pronounced dead. The sister who survived remains traumatized.
She thought her sister was unconscious. She really wasn't. And she was actually dying in her arms.
A web of loved ones in Hampton Roads are dealing with immeasurable pain. Michael Robinson, Amari's grandfather, says another teenager pulled the trigger.
Had a heart, turn yourself in. You did a man's job or a cowardly job. Be a man and face the facts.
I just want whoever did this or whoever know who did this. I'm gonna get justice. It's so many people that love my daughter. I didn't even know. I don't even think she knew. There's so many people that love my daughter.
Grandma Shantae is now caring for her 2-year-old grandchild. A Newport News-based woman has established a GoFundMe account to help with funeral and other expenses. I will have that information later this evening on wavy.com. Regina Mobley, 10 on your side.
There you go. 17 leaving behind a 2-year-old child. I mean, yeah. Let's see. Kid with a kid. That's right. Halloween. They don't know the mystery behind this celebration. There you go, man. There you go. They don't, you know, it's a death holiday, man. It's a death holiday. You're celebrating death, so don't be surprised when it comes knocking. Okay? Here's another one on Halloween.
All right, thank you, Ella. A night of fun ends in tragedy. Police in DeKalb County are trying to solve a deadly mystery. Someone shot and killed a woman in the street, but investigators still don't know who pulled the trigger or why.
Atlanta News First Don Shipman is live with the First Alert Breaking News Tracker outside of DeKalb County Police Headquarters. And Don, there was some sort of party happening at the house, we know.
Yeah, we believe it was a Halloween party. That's what neighbors were telling us. We could actually see a lot of the decorations. There was also a lot of damage to the house. So police are definitely going to be looking into that party and who was attending that party.
A deadly shooting overnight turned a quiet DeKalb County neighborhood into a crime scene. Police cordoned off the 3700 block of Conley Downs Drive for several hours. Investigators snapped pictures, collected evidence, and questioned neighbors. Sirens and blue flashing lights woke up Timothy Tyson in the middle of the night.
What goes through your head when you see that? What happened? What happened?
DeKalb police say the shooting happened around 3 in the morning. Officers found the victim dead in the street. Police say the woman, believed to be in her mid-20s, died from a gunshot wound. Investigators zeroed in on this house with orange balloons on the porch, its front windows shattered. Neighbors, speaking off camera, say a Halloween party was going on there just hours earlier. Tyson says his heart breaks for the family.
Her being in her mid-20s, she still had a whole life ahead of her. I will be praying for the family of the lost.
The investigation is in the early stages. DeKalb police say they're still trying to figure out what led up to the shooting.
And authorities have yet to identify the victim's name. They also have not identified any suspects, so far, no arrests. We're live here in DeKalb. Don Shipman, Atlanta News First.
Yep. Party already had crime scene tape for the police. What a nightmare. Let's see. This guy, I don't know what he's talking about. It was 3 a.m. Halloween party. 3 a.m. is a witching hour. It's the devil's hour. You know, and I mean, this guy having a oh, there it is. I'm like, where did you even, you know, he's one of those Christians, or he or she, you know, having a Halloween party for the devil and glorifying darkness, occultness, and the evils of witchcraft. With, you can have alcohol, but shouldn't be doing it in this state. But yeah, man, you see it. These people are, hey man, these people are gonna keep on getting deaded up because they don't care about the word. All right, they don't care about the Lord and His message. They don't care that you can't celebrate Halloween. They don't care that you're not supposed to, you know, follow the ways of the heathen. They don't care about nothing. All right, which means they don't care about their life. Proverbs 13:13. Whoso despiseth the word shall be destroyed, but he that feareth the commandment shall be rewarded. Okay, and we got to continue on in 14. It says, the law of the wise is a fountain of life to depart from the snares of death. There you go. So, there you go, man. That's just how it is. All right, that's just how it is. Already got that one. What else do I want to get? We'll get these 2 last ones, and then we'll close out. Here's this one was kind of crazy. Check this out.
Neighbors we spoke to say they live in a neighborhood where they look out for each other, and tonight many are heartbroken to hear about what happened just a few doors down.
It's so cliche to say that, but you don't expect to see it on your own street.
Tonight, shock spreads in a Hope County community. It comes after more learned about the murder of a Rayford woman who investigators say was killed by her grandson.
Just a friendly woman, very friendly, very kind.
It started around 9:30 Thursday morning when Hope County Sheriff's deputies performed a welfare check. They came to this home on Pierce Place. That's where they found 68-year-old Connie Lennon unresponsive. She was later pronounced dead.
Police cars all lit up and a bunch of other cars, and they had the yellow tape all the way around the house going across the street, and nobody was allowed to leave or come.
Investigators identified her 13-year-old grandson as a suspect and charged him with first-degree murder, but they say he left the area. Lee County Sheriff's deputies found him Thursday afternoon.
That lady was smiling her ass off. I know she hated that old lady.
In Cameron, they say he was in a stolen vehicle which belonged to his grandmother. Deputies say the teen ran into the woods when they approached him and charged at one of them with a 2x4 during the pursuit. That's when deputies say one of them opened fire, killing the teen. Neighbors who knew the victim's grandchildren say they were always respectful.
Yeah, I knew both of them, you know, played a little basketball, shot some ball out here, played, you know, RC cars and stuff like that. They seemed decent kids, you know, very polite, you know, sir, ma'am, you know, just raised well.
SPI tells Eyewitness News the agency was helping the Hope County Sheriff's Office look for the teen and is now investigating the shooting of the suspect. In Rayford this evening, I'm John Dowding, ABC 11, Eyewitness News.
All right, there's the love of many waxing cold. So it said he killed the only person that ever loved him and would be there for him. Disgusting. There you go. And then someone said, do you know her personally? You're making a big assumption. We don't know what was happening in the house. It's true. Let's see. It says, why were the neighbors literally smiling as they talked about this? I'm honestly so shocked right now. It says, yeah, disturbing, right? And I thought the same thing. It says they love the excitement of death. Must be one of the sundown towns. That's what I thought too. White people just like death. Let's see. It said he was probably a nuisance in the neighborhood. Be glad he's been taken out. Let's see. Many are heartbroken. Woman smiling from ear to ear. It's true. I know, right? Sick to think she was just happy getting her 15 minutes of fame. Smiling witnesses and neighbors is very bizarre. I thought the same. It was very weird. Very weird. Yeah. It's interesting. Very interesting. Look, mom on TV mentality. But yeah, man, this is simply just the love of many waxing cold. Another prophecy in Matthew 24, one of my favorite chapters.
Well,
So I can. This is Matthew 24:12. It says, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. So there you go. And then we got to get verse 13. Of course, it says, but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. So this is the type of stuff, man, that, you know, you got to pray and repent. We just did a lesson yesterday about repentance. So if you're not repenting, you know, I don't know what to tell you. It's gonna be your ass, man. It's gonna be your ass. You have no one to blame. Okay, here's another one.
The man shot and killed by his father is struggling to understand how a family dispute turned deadly. Today we got the mugshot of the man accused of killing his own son. Channel 2's Michael Seiden spoke with her. He's live in Buckhead after speaking to that victim's sister.
And Dee Clyburn told me that she agreed to speak with me because she doesn't want this tragedy to define her brother's life. Again, she is so shaken by what happened. We also want to tell you we've learned exclusively tonight that the victim's girlfriend, a Fulton County marshal, has actually been placed on paid administrative leave pending the outcome of an APD investigation.
I wouldn't have ever imagined
Not in 100 years would I have thought that this was the phone call I was getting.
Dee Clyburn says she still can't process what she's been told, that her older brother, 32-year-old Durante Schofield, was shot and killed by their own father. On Friday, Clyburn spoke with us by phone, fighting back tears as she described the shock and heartbreak.
That's my big brother, and I will never be able to call him again.
Clyburn says Schofield was the proud father of 2 young children, an entrepreneur who worked as an independent contractor in Metro Atlanta, and a family man who loved being a dad, a brother, and a creative spirit.
He cared genuinely and deeply about people. He was a passionate person.
Earlier in the day, a judge denied bond for their father, 54-year-old Durante Rhodes Tolliver. Investigators say he drove to the 55 Farr Apartments in Buckhead after learning his son had been involved in a car crash. According to an affidavit, he and his son began fighting inside the apartment, but when officers arrived, they say both men appeared calm and walked out together. Once they got to the parking lot, the argument started again. Investigators say the father told police he believed his son reached towards his waistband as if he had a gun, so he fired at least 12 shots. Police say they searched Schofield's body, but he did not have a gun.
Just remember him as being a lover and a giver, a helper.
And Dee told me that although her brother was a convicted felon, he had really gotten his life together. He was making positive changes and really having a positive influence on his friends and family. Now, the family obviously is going to need some help with the funeral arrangements. They've launched a GoFundMe page. We've got all the details posted on our webpage right now, WSBTV.com. For now, we're live in Buckhead. Michael Seiden.
I'm wondering what the hell they were fighting about, but to pump 12 rounds into a body, that's overkill. Let me see it. Wife, girlfriend, fiance, whoever called the father over is messy. Someone check her phone. Pretty much over, girl. 12 rounds was diabolical, so Pops was holding the pain in. Mag dumping on your unarmed son is diabolical. There you go. Father is a wicked. It's true. Absolutely. Deserves to be in jail forever. 12 times against our man. Was the girlfriend cheating with the father? That's what I think. That's what someone said. That's what I think. 12 times I only shoot my enemies once. I don't know. Could be. I'm not going to speculate, but there's definitely got to be some underlying stuff there. But at the end of the day, look, man, it can be your ass if you don't repent. All right? If you don't repent. So let's get a couple more scriptures and close out here. Let's see. Well, let's go Proverbs 1:24 all the way down to 27. It says, "But ye have set at naught all my counsel." All right, everything that the Lord's tried to instruct you of through the prophets, you didn't want to hear. All right, and with none of my reproof, none of his correction. Right, you don't want to be corrected. You want to do what you want to do. It says, "I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh." Come on now. I'll read it this way. When your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. For that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord. They would none of my counsel, they despised all my reproof. You want to keep on despising the Lord's reproof, the Lord's correction. You don't want to get right. You don't want to get right. Well, guess what? Bop. All right. So, then finally, I'm going to close out with this. All right. This is where I'm going to close out with, because I think it'll be pretty impactful. All right. Is there one more I want to get before I get it? Well, let me see. Let's get another one. Let's get Ephesians, or let's get 2nd Esdras 15 and 24. through that's really dealing with, you know, end days, but we can just get verse 24 right here, really. So, and it reads, 2nd Esdras 15 and 24, woe to them that sin. Woe is death and destruction and horrible things. Woe to them that sin and keep not my commandments, saith the Lord. I will not spare them. Go your way, ye children, from the power, defile not my sanctuary. For the Lord knoweth all them that sin against him, and therefore delivereth he them unto death and destruction. And then coming in and so I'll leave it there. Of course, you know, the next verse is talking about, you know, the end days, all right, with the plagues coming upon earth, and the Lord not, you know, delivering. I'll read it, just to get it the full verse. But it says, for now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and ye shall remain in them, for Yahweh shall not deliver you, because ye have sinned against him. And it's same thing in the end is now, really, with, you know, if you're not going to hearken unto the Lord and not listen to the Lord, he's not going to save you now, and he's not going to save you in the end days. Right? He's not going to save you ever. Okay? If you're doing that, he's not going to deliver you. You'll be delivered to death. Right? So, Ecclesiasticus 5 and 7, we're going to get that, and then we're going to close out. It reads, make no tarrying. All right? Now, before we got to understand what it means to tarry, it means to dilly-dally, to put off. Right?
Tarry.
All right? No, tarry.
Tarry.
Okay? Stay longer than intended. Delay leaving a place, all right? Linger, loiter, procrastinate, delay, wait, lag, hang around, all right? Dawdle, all right? Don't do that when it comes to turning to the Lord, all right? Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day. Oh, I'm gonna find out about, you know, the Hebrew Israelites next week. Oh, you know, they're still down there. I'm gonna do it next week. Until they're not. For suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance. If you even make it, if you even make it to that point, because you might just die before that. All right, you might just die before that, which really in itself is a form of mercy, right? So, and yeah, man. So that's the judgment report. You keep on messing around and doing these things. Look, every week people are dying. Every day, every minute, every hour. All right, people are dying, and it's gunshots, other types of violence, stabbing, and drunk. There's a whole bunch of different ways that the unrighteous can die. Okay, and you know, sure, there's ways that you can die in this truth. All right, not necessarily be wicked. You know, whether it be old age or, you know, a health condition or something like that. But these extreme acts of violence, these horrible situations, it's judgment. You can tell the Lord's judgment by its flavor. Okay, you know, you died of old age. That's not judgment. All right, you had a health condition that progressively got worse. All right, and you went and you suffered sometimes, but not too bad, and it might have got worse at the end or something like that. That's, you know, not necessarily judgment. You get your head whacked off with a machete or shot 15, 12 times. That's judgment. All right, that's a violent death. All right, that's one of the hallmarks of judgment, is a violent death, a violent way to go, and it's not something that you should strive for. So repent while you still can. So that's the lesson. We're going to close out there. Lord, and what was edifying. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, Shalom. Keep enduring, you know, and keep enduring, keep the faith. We're almost out of here. You know, prayers go out to you brothers and sisters out there that are in this truth, Lord willing. You know, we you know, all of us in this truth, we stay protected and prayed up. We're in dangerous times, man. Until next one, Lord willing. Shalom.